My friend, I am not being unfair to you. Did we not agree on the payment? Take what you have got and go away. Is it your problem that I decided to pay the last person as I paid you? Why are you envious? Or don't I have the right to do what I like with what is my own? Otito dịrị Jesu. Just before you repeat this statement, the last one, be careful. I have the right to do what I like with what is my own. Be careful, oh, because you are not God. Ask yourself really, what is it that you have that is really your own? What is it that you have that was not given to you on trust for the benefit not only of your own benefit but also of others? So you can imagine public office holders who steal money from the coffers of the state, and then they think they can do what they like with what is their own. Or even some of us, we have that temptation as well. Priests, bishops, religious. Let me not talk of other people who claim to be men of God. Sometimes we forget that what we have has been entrusted to us for the service of God's people. And we think we can do with that whatever we want. Only God can make this statement. And it was made by God. Jesus, the second person of the Blessed Trinity. Today's gospel reading focuses on laborers and the Lord's service, generally represented as the vineyard of the Lord. And for 3 Sundays from today, we will be hearing parables about laborers in the vineyard. Next, tomorrow, the emphasis will be on the 2 brothers who we are supposed to go and work in the vineyard of their father. And the upper Sunday still, it will be about those vineyards to whom, those workers to whom the vineyard had been entrusted. And then the Lord of the vineyard came back to them to request an account. Today, the emphasis is divided. We may think that the emphasis is on the laborers. But if we listen carefully and pay attention, we realize that the emphasis is on the owner of that vineyard. There are so many lessons we can learn from today's gospel. But first, let us place it in the context in which the parable was told originally. Because if we move away from that context, some will think it is a question of economy and justice. Some people have read this passage of the gospel and said that Jesus was not a good economist. How could he have proposed that you pay the last laborer the same as you paid the first? No system works like that. That is true. No human system works like that. But we are not talking about a human system. But in the context of life in Palestine, when Jesus told this parable, they were wine producers. And the time for harvesting grapes, wine grapes, for the making of wine was very short period. As a matter of fact, laborers worked in the vineyard morning, evening, until there was no more light, because within a very short time, it would start raining, and you would lose the entire unharvested grapes. So you understand the urgency for the owner of the vineyard, that nobody be left who could help in saving some of the grapes. This owner, this landowner, went out one morning to hire laborers. He needed many hands in order not to let his grapes waste. The first group he met, where did he meet them? Not in their homes. These men came out looking for a job, daily pay. There is nothing as humiliating in life, socially, as not having a job. When you are not sick, and you are capable, and you are unable to find something to give you sustenance and give sustenance to those dependent on you. If you have never driven to where these laborers wait every morning, Henan on Uzo Barracks, Henan on Ugui, Henan on Oyom Uvrog, over shovel, over barrow, over pan, Fotana Agbakwa, Ina Kushimoto, for the Rutegi Gigi. And of course, there may be a limit to the number of people any individual could hire. The others will go back and sit down. 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, midday. And the man on done job when those laborers go to their family. Many of them in Suka, but a one-room apartment hena rent. And in that one room, you have a wife ne shopper. Or the okumise drime ohishi. Heli in a one room. This man, Hocharlata, Mojigafo, you meet a disappointed wife and angry and hungry children. What do you explain? We are going to say, in Nambi Began, Nobaga Pogor, you Jerumbam younger than Maya. And that is what some men see every day. Now, even women. So this man came and agreed with the first group. Please, go. I will pay you this amount. That was agreed. Only any part of the world, daily laborers' wage again will be fixed. And they agreed and went. The man went out again and again and again. Now the discussion changes. Mbo meet the second group. I will pay you a just wage. How much? They agreed. And they went. Till 5 p.m. My dear, Obromunwa chokondo jar no morne cathedral je no gbon manu na 5 mo ke nwere onye not there. Odo no possible onkuma double. Because they did not lose hope. They didn't want to give up. They placed themselves in such a way that they would be found and hired, but nobody did. And when he came and saw them, he had a proverb, he had a parable. He asked them to go into their vineyard, his vineyard as well. No prize. The first group went on contract. The other groups went on trust. The first group was expecting a reward. The last group was just expecting a favor. And that is the big difference. Jesus told this parable to warn two groups of people primarily, and to warn you and me as well. First of all, the apostles. The apostles had a sense of entitlement because they had left everything and followed Jesus. Peter had the audacity to ask him, Lord, what about us? We have left everything and followed you. What will be our reward? Well, Jesus answered him, if you leave everything, you will get so much of it in reward in this life and eternal life at the end. But you will have persecution. The sons of Zebedee wanted as a reward to be placed one on the right and one on the left, because they were twins and their mother was related to the mother of Jesus. I am. You know, very often, even today, many Christians think they are entitled to God's reward. We come to God with a sense of entitlement. I have obeyed your commandments. I have been a Christian since birth. I was a born Catholic. And a born Catholic, baptism. And they become arrogant about it. The warning was first to the apostles, and second to all the Jews, because Jesus was gradually also extending God's graces and favors to the non-Jews, Gentiles. And the Jews wouldn't accept that. You remember the angry reaction of the apostles when a non-Jewish woman came to disturb Jesus to ask that her daughter was sick. The Jews, as well as the apostles, were being warned, you have no sense of entitlement. Everything you have from God is grace, is his favor, is generosity, not payment. You know, it is often said, I am a bond of father and a bishop, we have left everything and followed the Lord. The truth is that some of us, I say some, may not, I say may. Some of us may not even have had a decent house. And yet we claim we left everything. Therefore, God owes us. God does not owe you or owe me anything. Even those who were hired early, supposing that man who owned the land went to another side to hire laborers, was he bound to call you? Don't you see that it is already a miracle, grace, favor, that you were chosen, called at all? Why was this parable told in the first place? If this man had started paying the last people lower, as had only 1 hour, now 1/6 of the payment, and paid those who started early the entire wage, there would have been no problem. Have you seen the problem? The problem was not with what they received because they came early. How come that God could you remember the parable of the merciful father, the prodigal son, and the arrogant son? The arrogant son was angry that his brother was found and treated with mercy and love. We all have to examine our consciences, because very often we are angry when God is merciful to those whom we think he should punish. This is a lesson for all of us. You yourself claiming the right to God's favor, you have no right. What you receive is a gift, is favor, is grace. Take what has been given to you and go. Stop grumbling. Be grateful. You have no entitlement. Secondly, Jesus told us the harvest is rich, but the laborers are few. He does not mind at what hour he gets somebody to work in his kingdom, to work in his project, to work in his program. He does not mind. The important thing is that when he grabs you, you answer. It is never too late to answer the call of the Lord, to get involved. Some may be called in their womb, like Jeremiah was, like a lady was chosen before she was conceived, like John the Baptist. But others may be called as adults, like the apostles, like Paul, like St. Augustine. Some may be called in their older age, like the Cornelius and his household, and so many others. The important thing is order. And the Lord wants everybody to get involved. Don't stand idle. Get involved. Come and work in the Lord's vineyard. Ọrụ dị n'onye otu Kristi ọbụla chọrọ ịrụ ọrụ anọla je kirie anya. The problem is that very often the Lord moves around looking for whom to call, looking for young men to call to work in his vineyard. Mehe nọ n'ime akatakpa, n'ime oriọkpa. Ụfọdụ nọ na telivishọn ekiri BB Naija. Ndị ọzọ na-ekiri Premier League and La Liga and Serie Uno nke ndị Italy. Na-aṅụ mmanya, na-agba ote, na-atụkọta ego eji akwụ one person 1 million naira every hour. Na-amaghị na ego eji akwụ ndị a niile na-agba bọọlụ ụgwọ bụ ego unu na-atụta na mmanya ahụ unu na-aṅụ unu na-ekiri telivishọn. But the Lord is looking for you to hire. Young girls, where are you standing? Will he find you when he comes? Because the harvest is rich. Where are you? Things are getting bad. This country is in need of redemption. Where are willing hands of Christians to redeem this nation through their exemplary life? Where are you? The Lord is moving around, calling everybody. Stop grumbling. Take what is yours and go. And you, don't stand idle there. Get involved. But then, there is another dimension to this parable that many of us may miss. Paul says in the second reading today, the last sentence in that reading says, avoid anything in your everyday lives that would be unworthy of the gospel of Christ. Avoid anything in your everyday lives that would be unworthy of the gospel of Christ. My dear brother, my dear sister, my question is, you may think you are working, but you may really be standing idle and wasting your time, wasting your resources and wasting your energy. Because the Lord says, if you are not gathering with me, you are scattering. If you are not working to build up the kingdom of Christ on earth, if you are not working to build up the project of Jesus Christ in Nigeria, dear Christian, you are standing idle. You are wasting time. Maybe things are getting bad. So you may think you are busy. Ask yourself whether you are really busy in the right place, in the right position. Look for the Lord now that is still to be found, Isaiah tells us. Whatever you are doing from today onwards as a Christian, ask yourself whether that is contributing to Christ's program for Nigeria, for Nsukka, for Enugu State. If it is not, you are standing idle there, or even wasting time and wasting your resources and obstructing Christ's project. Now, this is the time for us to make ourselves available. It does not matter at what hour you begin, provided you have been faithful in seeking the face of the Lord. Thank you very much. If you had my own type of father, oh, you, father, mother, 6 or before 6, woman she bia jegre akwụkwọ otete na 7 bia chegre na go chụrụ isi na ọ ga-abụ ụtụtụ ya ọ ga-abụ gị tariva je je to onye amanya m n'ụra na ọ bụ mmiri oyibo ya awa. Provided you have been doing your part in seeking the face of God, it is never too late to start. But if you have not been in that position where the Lord will find you, you cannot claim, no. But if you have been seeking his face, today is early. If all of us were to make ourselves available, we would not allow anything in his harvest to waste, but he would use us to harvest all that needs to be harvested. And all of us as laborers will be grateful for having been called. Remember, you have no entitlement. So this parable was not about God's justice. It was about God's mercy. It was about God's generosity. The landowner was not thinking only of his needs, but the need of the laborer who would have stayed the entire day without anything to take home. And you, if you are unhappy, anytime God blesses another person, even more than you, take this from me, you will never in your life be a happy person. Because there is no day you will not see people whom God is blessing more than you, at least by your own calculation. The only way to be happy is if you rejoice in the blessings that others receive and in the favors that others receive. Can you imagine the joy of these laborers if they had started this way? When they started paying the last person with the amount of the daily wage that they should pay everybody, they say, hey, this man is wonderful. Chukwu gozig. Chukwu okememu. But then magar legiti hebo menebera or jadana gumbangokem. They would be more fulfilled with their own payment if they had been happier for the payment that the others received. But because they were envious, except you thank God for his gifts to others, you would never even notice that he has surrounded you with gifts, and you will never be grateful. And an ungrateful heart is an unhappy heart. Please, it is not about reward, it is grace. Take what the Lord has given to you. Be grateful and go.